Hello everyone, I'm near the ginger now. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. It's been scorching humid all day, so I've decided to come and do some weeding by hand. It's going to take some time because I don't want to go in there and just rip everything out. I've got to be a bit careful, so I'm going to go to the back and start at the back. Okay, I think I'll start back here. There's even more to do back here, but I think this will be a good spot for here. There's so much gardening we've got to get to. But we'll start. Make a start. I'm avoiding using my arm today because I picked up a heavy bag of rubbish this morning and it hurt a lot. So I'm going to try and not carry so many heavy things with the left hand. Just restrict it a little bit. Thing in there. Get rid of this. Whew. It's very humid today. Oh, damn it. Those are some things up at night. There's a native clematis here that I'll leave. It's gonna have to come actually. It's throttling my plants. things from here, I'll be able to see what I'm standing on. There's lots of viney plants now in here. Lots of, ow! Whatever that is. It's got thorns on. Ooh, got a thorn in my hand. Okay. Ow! What on earth is that? It's been a terribly wet couple of weeks here. Ow! Ooh! It's a spiky things. I can't find my gloves. Damn it. Oh. Oh. Okay. Pull this off my. God, these spikes. Ugh. Ow! The other thing is, when you clear areas like this, you actually get more wildlife coming in. So, I know people think you just rewild in and you leave everything wild, but you actually have less wildlife in overgrown, deep growth than in open areas. So if you want to encourage wildlife, but like the natural, you still need to give it a good going through. There's lots of little oak trees coming up. Let me get rid of some of these. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Beautiful plant under here. trouble with Florida. Vines just want to take over everything, especially in these wooded, shaded areas. Vines will just smother everything. So it's okay to be selective with the vines. You can keep them in the area you want them. You don't have to get rid of all of them because there's wildlife that like them, but open the space up and let your plants breathe. Especially in Florida, everything gets choked out. And the speckled sun then can get to the bottom and the clearing. You get more birds coming in when it's clear to eat the acorns and other seedlings that come down. When it's thick, it chokes everything. This idea that if you're into plants that only come from the area and letting it go all natural, like rewilding. Some people think rewilding is just letting it go wild, and it's not. You've got to manage it. You've got to manage everything. There was a joint science experiment between Germany and the UK, and they did a management thing. I can't remember who ran it, and it ran from like 1930 to the 2000s, I think, something like that. And they half managed part of the woodland and then left the other part of the woodland do its own thing. If I can remember who did that study, or somebody can. And they monitored the wildlife within the area and diversity, and how much wildlife, birds and deer and foxes and came in and out. And after all that time, they discovered that the bit that was just left to go completely wild with no management, just left to its own devices, had a fraction of the wildlife that the managed woodland was. And when we say managed, they're not planting trees in lines, they're letting it go natural, but they're going in and clearing dead when dead stuff happens. I can't remember. That's going to be on my mind now, to remember who did that. But it's one of the longest running experiments. Maybe it was in the 1950s to year 2000. Was it like 1958 to 2008? Something like that. It was a very long project. And so when I see all these people just wanting to rewild, there is management that goes along with it. Because even thousands of years ago, you know, for hunting and things, Bronze Age people, I suspect even before Bronze Age, I suspect very early people semi-managed woodlands so they could hunt. It would be useless going into the forest and trying to hunt giant cattle and things like that if you couldn't chase after them. With deer, you know, you spear a deer and it runs off and you can't follow it. You don't know where it goes to die, and that's the end of it. So I suspect there's always been an amount of management going on. And then even, you know, even down to the point that they collect the wood for fires and things, so it's a little bit disturbing at the moment when I'm seeing these rewilding things and they're just letting it go, letting it all go. You know, when we look at ancient forests like the New Forest, the reason it's been able to survive and the trees, the very old trees survive, is because of management. Okay, that's easier now. How do I deal with this thing, whatever this is? I hear in Scotland they're on about bringing these Spanish cows in to manage it, but we have a wild cow in the UK. We have a wild cow, and they could use those, especially as the second herd of them is in a secret location in Scotland already, so they know it can manage Scottish climate. So why on earth aren't they using that rather than bringing in cattle from abroad? Cunningham cows, they're called. And cows are a funny thing. They revert to wild very, very quickly without people around. It doesn't take them long to their original wild nature to come in. And there's lots of instances where wild cows, there's an island off Scotland again, that's Scotland again, that there's these wild cows that were left on there and not managed, and they are wild. And but the Cunningham cows, they know they live in Scotland because the second herd is kept in Scotland. I would think, and knowing they've probably got ancient blood still in them, because it's really a mystery how they survived. They're thinking that maybe at the time a few domestic cows got with the very last remaining UK wild cows and developed what they are now. And thanks to that landowner who turned his property into a park, has kept them pure. So they've probably got the most ancient DNA in them. Oops. Never been to see the Cunningham cows, and I've always wanted to go and see them. So it's a very special thing to go and see those cows. And then there's the largest in the world is in Italy. It's ginormous. And I suspect if DNA was taken from them, I suspect we'd find that they've got some leftover DNA from original wild cows of Europe. It would be quite magnificent if you ever get to go and see those giant Italian cows. I don't think people realise how large they are. They're absolutely gigantic. And they also look very, I would say, prehistoric. They've got a very prehistoric look about them as well. But they're very docile. They use them for pulling carts and things. I suspect it wouldn't take much for them to rewild themselves. Some nice plants in here. Oh, this thorny thing. What on earth is it? Ow! Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. I need to cut it, I think. I'll have to come back and cut that. I always thought it would be really interesting to have a zoo, wildlife park, that was just the wild, everything that's domesticated on a farm. So people could see the entire park is just that. Wild sheep are amazing. There's so many different wild sheep around the world. In America, you've got several different breeds, 7 different pockets of wild sheep. Yeah, wouldn't it be fantastic? So people know this is where your sheep originated from. So you walk around and you can see some ancient, historic domestic breeds, and then there's some of these wild breeds, like the wild cows from India. Woo! That would be fantastic. Wild sheep, different boars and warthogs, just the equivalent domestic to the wild all in one place. It'd be very educational. Especially Welsh hill farms. I always think to myself, some of these Welsh hill farms that are struggling. If they had these wild sheep, people to visit, it would be fantastic, and they could have a tour around Wales, around farms that are holding these wild sheep, to visit different areas. It would bring income in to these very rural hill areas. When I was living in Germany, neighbouring village had this park in the forest, Schonau Forest, and they had these ginormous, 30-acre paddocks that had one with wild boar, one with deer. So when you were walking through the forest, they were there. So your kids could see what they look like, these wild boar and these deer. And then in the middle, they had this fantastic park made out of wood with zip lines, and then there was fire pits for you to be able to have little fires. Very managed nicely. I think that's something that maybe could be looked at a bit more. Doing that. The respect, though, people got to have for going onto these properties, and they go, I don't know what this is. It's the name of it. Ow! I need to go. Ow! Pull these up, and then I'm going to go and get some choppers to chop that. Okay, well, we got some big logs and things. In the US, have kids go, well, down in Florida, kids go back to school next week, so it's really hot. Whew. I'd also like to see in Wales a national stud, an actual publicly owned national stud, like one in Marbach in Germany, just like that. I think we could help the equestrian community, because of the type of country we are, Wales. I think it's needed. Oh, look at that. Look at that grasshopper. Oh, can I get it? Whoop! He's gone. I win a lottery, I'm paying for one. I'll pay with wild oats there. I just found a thing of wild oats, strangely. Okay. Be very careful now as I'm pulling things up. This is pretty tough with all these vines in here. It was a lot easier out there. Hope you can see the plants now that I'm leaving. Oh, there's so much of this garden to do. So we've got to do all that, so we've only done a tiny corner. I've just shown you the very front bit and this very woodland area. There's so much more garden. My worst nightmare would be a big grass garden. What's the point? What is the point? Unless kids actually use it. What's the point? Okay. trimmers and do a trim. Oh, damn it. I hate it when that happens. Pull the top off and you have to go hunt for the bottom. Okay. Lots of little plants down here, so I'm trying not to break them. Because I'm pulling all this out. And you always need some. Don't chop all your dead wood and throw your dead wood out, because you know your woodpeckers need it. So always leave the few dead branches, and your bugs, your beetles, and your bees need the wood to hibernate in. So I would clear out, and then I'm going to dedicate certain areas for some logs. Oh no, I pulled up a succulent. I didn't want to do that. Oh, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. Oh. What's this? Oh no. Why did I do that? Oh. Trouble is, some of these vines, the succulents have such a shallow root system that you pull something and you pull a vine and it goes and lifts. Oh, succulent. Mind you, this is a big succulent. Maybe I could split it, put it somewhere else. Okay. Let's head down here. I haven't quite finished. I have to come back because of the one with all the thorns. I'll do it tomorrow, I think. Very close to the camera now. Lots of vines down here. I hope the camera doesn't go flying when I pull one of them. Ooh, that's interesting. I want to show you something. Look at this. As soon as I finish, I am going to show you something very interesting. Oh, ow. Ow. That's another thorny one. Not so big, I wonder if I can. No. Nope, it's going to hurt me. Okay, let me show you something I just found. Right there. Here we go. Just look at this. Let me go around the other side. So this is what we've done. We've cleared going this way. So I found some, unearthed some more plants underneath here. This is going to have to be chopped back. I've got so many of these, it's going to have to be chopped back. But as I said, I've got all back here and to go around the back of these big oak trees. But giving a breather to all this ginger now. And then if you look on the floor, all the plants that I've managed to expose on the floor. Pull that off that succulent. There's still a lot to do because I have to come back in. Let's have a look at this from this angle. Oh, look at that there. Exposed that. There's flowers coming on that. Okay, and then down here we have this. It's not letting me zoom in. There we are. And we're back to where we found that plant, this beautiful, uncovered this the other day, and I find how beautiful green it is. Look at that. So that's what we've done today. Nice seeing you all, Wanya, and I'll speak to you soon.